शन्नो मित्रशं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः Somehow we have got through Satyam and nearly done with Jnanam. Through and having waded through various arguments that one never even thought was possible. How is it even possible to think like this? Well, it is because people have thought like this. And therefore, this kind of a hermeneutic analysis of the text shows us the need to be extremely careful with whatever meaning is being assigned to each and every word and how that word is being interpreted in the context of the message or the vision of the Shruti. So, the words should be understood so that there is no internal contradiction. Meaning, you said something just 5 minutes ago, and then you say something else a little later on that cannot, which is completely opposite. That cannot happen. And also, there cannot be any kind of a external contradiction either. Contradiction from some other pramana, some other means of knowledge also cannot be there. That is why this is such a, that is why so much of a very careful and a painstaking analysis, very well done analysis, word by word, line by line, is warranted. Because the our understanding, anybody's understanding coming to this knowledge is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, like a cake, so you have some the cake, the dense portion is ajnana, and then it has got the icing in the middle of some kind of wrong notions, first not knowing oneself, and then some more icing, another layer. That icing is thinking of oneself wrongly, and then another layer, some more wrong notions. So this is what it is. And the person is not willing to give up this slice of cake or the whole cake. He's holding on to it. No, it's mine. I have taken generations. I have taken lifetimes to perfect this. And it's wonderful. Then I'm not going to give up this ajnanam. I'm not going to give up this anyatha jnanam, wrong knowledge. And this is who I am. And this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, somehow I'm also interested in Vedanta. Go figure. What are you going to do with this now? And so, therefore, this kind of a painstaking analysis, word by word, you can't even say line by line because we are yet to get through the first line. So, word by word analysis, every word is just, completely made threadbare and dissected so that all the wrong meaning, like some, what should I say, some kind of a exorcism is performed on those wrong meanings, and they suddenly leave the head. This is yukta. Yukta means this is appropriate. And so now, we have, so this is the general what we are doing here, a word by word analysis with a lot of nanus coming in the middle. Who is a nanu? Nanu is a purva pakshi that is going to what should I say, ferret out things deep inside the subconscious mind, various kinds of questions, resistances, and wrong thinking is ferreted out in the form of a question that is made, that is made into a social fact. It is out there, front and center. So one has to deal with the discomfort of sharing the opinion with the Purva Pakshi. Yeah, why can't it be that? I also thought the same thing. And one has to see very clearly why this just will not suffice and why this is wrong. And that's why the pace, as I said, is going to be slow until we cover the initial mantra. After that, it will pick up. And so now this is the, so this is we have seen this much, that the word jnana is used for removing the wrong understanding. And what is the wrong understanding? That the that Brahman is jada, inert. So we talked about that at length, how Brahman cannot be inert, and also at the same time it is not the agent of knowledge. We talked about that also. It is jnanam, but then it is bhava sadhana. It is more of an impersonal, what is it called? Abstract meaning, so that it is not jnayate iti jnanam. It is not. It is not an object of knowledge. Jnayate means, jnayate, something jnayate, and so it's not an object, and it is. It is. It is not janati iti jnanam, meaning it is not jnana kartru. It is not an agent of knowledge. It is not an object of knowledge, and neither is it a means of knowledge. Jnayate anena iti jnanam. So the first three karakas are gone. It is it is not the nominative case. Bye bye nominative case. Kartra karaka gone, and then karma. It is not the object of knowledge, that is gone. Second case is gone. Third case. What is the third case? Then the third case is karana, instrumental case. Gone. That's also totally gone. And then along with that, the student is also gone, because then what else is it? If it's not this, if it's not that, what else could it be? And so therefore we have seen how it is, it's a knowing, being without really knowing anything in particular, because it is not a karta, it is not a jnana karta, it is not the agent of knowledge, it's not something that is the means of knowledge, only the means of knowledge. It is that which is aware of the agent, it is aware of the object, it is aware of the means of knowing without being any one of them. It's that which makes everything alive by lending its presence, its chaitanya. And so therefore, this chaitanya atma is alone jnanam brahma. And then, and so what? Then, so it includes everything. As we saw last time, it is include, even though you say Brahman is not jada, any kind of jadatvam, including ignorance, cannot be outside of Brahman. Cannot be outside of Brahman. In fact, even this, what we call ajnanam, including atma ajnanam, or ajnanam of any particular object, or of anatma, or ajnanam of atma, both of them are brahmashraya. Both of them are not outside of Brahman, because both are mithya. Oh, I'm knowledgeable. It's mithya. What do you know? Oh, I know a few things. Wonderful. And oh, I'm ignorant. That's also mithya. This jnanam, ajnanam is, in a kind of a very interesting dyad. It's on this level of knowing, not knowing. This is all very much mithya. And so, therefore, even though jadatvam doesn't belong to that, it is Chaitanya Atma. And if it is Chaitanya Atma, it is the ashraya, it's the refuge of everything, including ajnanam. And then we also saw the argument, perhaps the Atma is little bit of Chit, little bit of Jada. Little one part of it is conscious, and the other part of it is inert. And so then then this clever fellow who came up with this idea, one Kumarila Bhatta, very complex person. Some other time I'll tell you his story. And so complex person with some complex thoughts. And then so he this is why it's called Bhattamatha. And this Bhatta came up with this idea that the conscious part of Brahman knows the unconscious part. And this is what we have to celebrate. This is Jnanam Brahma. Little bit of let's just compromise because we are conflict averse and we want everybody to get along. And then so to that end, what should we do? We should just agree. And we should make room for everybody at the table. Yes, if you're if you're having dinner, yes, make room for as Pujya Swamiji used to say, make room for the brother-in-law who is convinced that 2 plus 2 is 5. But you have to shut up, you have to keep quiet because the fellow is family. And so, yes, make room for him at the table and keep feeding him so that he doesn't talk. He's busy eating. And then what? But this, you can't make room in knowledge. There is no room in knowledge. This is only in terms of accommodating the person, not accommodating a wrong belief. Why? Vastu tantratvat jnanasya. We've covered this before because jnanam is vastu tantram. Vastu tantram means it is dependent upon the object, not on the subject, not about how the subject feels about the object. There is zero subjectivity here. So if I were to hold, this something in my hand and say, look at this wonderful elephant. And, much as you may have Shraddha, much as you would like to see an elephant, even a toy elephant, a wooden elephant, a small, decorative piece elephant, it is not there. So therefore, it is not, this chit jada bheda is not an option. It is not something that, it is not a theology that can be talked about for this. And so therefore, whatever you think about is just a superimposition, as it were, upon that Brahman one is trying to know. And then Atma is Chit, is all Chit. Why? Because there is no Amsha. Niramshatvat, we saw that last time. Niramshatvat means it doesn't have parts, like even space. It doesn't have part. The body can have certain Chit and Jada aspects, like nail, Jada. And then hair, Jada. The human, other parts of the body, Chit, conscious. And so you can have some, but then because the body has parts, that's how it is. But here, this is something not like the body which has parts. The body is, in fact, the body-mind complex is tapta ayaf pindavat. Ayaf pinda means it is a red hot ball of iron. So when you have a red hot ball of iron, what happens? It is glowing. It's a glowing red ball. But this glowing red ball has what? Has some, it's a very misnomer because neither the redness nor the hotness belongs to the iron ball, which is naturally cool. It is naturally cool. So then What is happening here? The body is borrowing, as it were, the Chaitanya. The body is borrowing, as it were, the Chaitanya, and then it is so the Deha can be Jada, and then it borrows the sentiency, and therefore some parts are sentient because, and then some others are not, because Sukshma Sharira Abhavat. The nails and the hair don't have the subtle body pervading there, and so therefore so therefore it is called Jada. And so therefore you can't give this example. You can't give this example that the body has chit part and Jada part, and it must be just like this. So there goes that argument. So now coming back to the text, he says, Nahi niravayavasya yugapat jnaya jnatra jnatritva upapattihi. He means because. Nahi, because niravayavasya atmanaha. This atma that is free from parts, free from limbs, free from any parts. And because if there are parts, things fall. This thing, anything that has parts falls apart. So it is free of falling apart. So it is niravayavasya atmanaha yugapat. Yugapat means at once, simultaneously. Jnaya jnatritva na upapattihi. It is not possible to be the knower and the known. So unless this is again an extended rebuttal or refutation of the Chit Jada Vada, which we saw last time. We couldn't see the whole thing, so there is a little more residue that is coming up in the Bhashya. We are going to take care of that today. So, Nahi, because he, Yasmat, because for that which is partless, impartite, partless, Niravaya Vasya Atmanaha, for this Atma which has no parts, what? Yugapat, simultaneously, at once, Jnaya Jnatritva Upapattihi Na. So you can't have, for something that has no parts, how can one portion be the knower and the other portion known? We are saying there are no portions. If there are no portions, how can you divide it into knower and known at the same time? Not possible. So, unless you have some parts for the Atma, if Atma had parts, you can say, okay, the conscious part is conscious of the inert part. You can say that. But then he refutes that. He said, this is not, this is not a possibility for the Atma to have the status of both the knower and the known. Knowership, knowerhood is a mithya superimposition, as it were, upon this Atma that is free of being the knower. Knownness is also an as though superimposition upon this Atma that is free from being the object of knowledge. And knowingness, the means of knowledge, is also Brahman. Brahman is not separate from Brahman. No, a means of knowledge also Brahman. Brahman is not the means of knowledge. And so, since it doesn't have parts, you cannot have the same Brahman be at once, really speaking, knower and known. One portion is knower, another portion is known. Here, all these, these Purva Pakshas come up because this is not understood. This Mithyatvam of the whole Jagat is not understood. This is why the problems come. And so therefore, it is not possible for the Atma, he says, to have both the status of knower as well as known. Furthermore, Atmanascha Ghatadivat Vigneyatve Sati, Vigneyatve Jnana Upadesha Anarthakyam Syat. So, suppose, okay, let's say we entertain your stupid argument that half the Atma is conscious, or 1/4 of the Atma is Chit, and 3/4 is Jada, or whatever proportion you want, doesn't matter. Let's say we just entertain this as a possibility. Do you see the ramifications? Do you see the ramifications? Ask the Bhashyakara. Adi Shankara asked, "Do you see this whole, very intense ramifications?" Because if even if a small part of Atma, even though it doesn't have parts, let's give your argument a little bit of the benefit of doubt. So let's say one portion of the Atma is known as non-Atma. It is Vijnata Atma. And so means non-Atma. If it is non-Atma, my dear fellow, asked Bhashyakara, why do you need the Shruti if it is already known? It is already known like a pot, okay? Ghatadivat, Jneyatve sati, Vijneyatve sati, same thing. If it is known, Atma is known. If Atma is known, then Vedana anarthakyam syat. Upanishadam anarthakyam syat. Anarthakyam means anartha, useless, futile. So if the Atma is known, no, but I'm talking of a small portion is known. Forget small, bit, big. If any portion of the Atma is known for something that doesn't have portions, if Atma is known, jneyatve sati, then what? Pramana asiddhihi. Upanishadam anarthakyam. So Upanishadam all the Upanishads will be useless. You can just use it to light the chula. That's all. And you can just use it to, as waste. Nothing else. 100 pages of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, anarthakyam, anartha. And then 50 pages of Kathopanishad, gone. Another 75 pages, 100 pages of Chandogya Upanishad, gone. All gone. Big, big, stalwart, Upanishads and their commentaries and everything, they're useless. So, what is the meaning that the Upanishad is useless? Means it is pramana, the implication. Many implications are there. The first implication is that it has got pramana asiddhi. So it is no longer functioning as a pramana, as a means of knowledge which is needed in order to understand oneself. Why? Because that I has is in a very uniquely difficult situation. Why? Because it is partially known. Like even the rope is partially known in twilight. It is known that something is lying there in the garden, but what is not, it is not known. And so when you shine the light, then it is known. So like even the rope lying in the dark, it's not pitch dark. That's why the example takes place in twilight. Because if it was pitch dark, you cannot make a mistake upon an unseen rope, and you will not make a mistake upon a seen rope. Similarly, if the Atma is fully known, you will never mistake it to be a samsari. And if it is the Atma is fully unknown, then also you will be happily going along your way, because the ignorance of ignorance is bliss. It's not just ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is never bliss. It's painful to not know. But if I don't know that I don't know, ah ha 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 ha, fantastic. And that's what all our animal friends are like. The dog, the cat, and all, they don't know that they don't know. And they seem to be happy. And so this is the problem here. And this we have to understand very, very carefully. So the adhishthana, which is the rope sthaniya, that which is exemplified by the rope in the example, this is the adhishthana. Adhishthana means that this Atma, this Brahman. If the difficulty is that it is somewhat known, like even the rope. Kinchit asti, something is there, we know. And then immediately the fear goes and unites with that object, because it is fully not known. And then there is this what is that called, projection. It's a fearful projection. So the Atma is also kind of known. It's known enough to become a sitting duck for all kinds of mistakes upon the eye. I'm an idiot. I don't have friends. I'm not lovable. I make mistakes all the time. It's always my fault. This is one set of persons, mistakes. Another set of persons' mistakes looks very different. It's all everybody else's fault. I'm the only one that is right. What's wrong with you, you? The whole Jagat is terrible. And Ishvara, what is this Ishvara? What is he doing? Nothing. I'm a self-made man. This is the other extreme of the continuum. And most of the people are somewhere garden variety, somewhere strewn in between, in between these extremes. And so all these are what? These are all projections. Because the Atma is somewhat known, it becomes a host to attract all kinds of wrong projections, which the Upanishad has to dismiss. Why should I call the Upanishad to dismiss? Why can't I dismiss it myself? Because you don't even know it's there. Swakale satyavat bhati. Meaning, suptasya, swakale, for the person, ajnana nidra suptasya. For the person who is sleeping, the sleep of ajnanam. Swakale, in its time, all these wrong notions, satyavat bhati. It shines as though it is true. Swakale, in its own time, meaning at that, in real time, at that time, it shines as though it is true. And then what? Prabodhe sati asad bhavet. So in the sleep, in the not deep sleep here, in dream, you see all kinds of things. And you win the lottery also. Some kind of a big, nobody had won for 6 weeks, and it's just multi-million dollars. And then you dream of winning the lottery. Ah, wonderful. And of course, there has to be some masala there, otherwise, it's not a fun dream. So you have laundered the ticket which was in the pocket of some of your clothing. Then it comes out looking all shriveled, wrinkled, but you can still see the numbers. Oh, thank God, thank God. First, the heart, went into the heart went into the stomach, and but thankfully before it got digested it was retrieved, so the heart was also retrieved, the lottery ticket was also retrieved, and then you go and submit it wherever you have to submit it. And then what? Maddening recurrent dream. And then just before they hand you that bada check, that huge check with which the people take photographs, your dream is disrupted and you wake up. Alas, the person doesn't have prarabdha to win the lottery ticket in the waking state, but doesn't even have the prarabdha to enjoy fully winning it even in the dream state. You know, this is our problem. So anyhow, so this is all, so at that time it seems so real. You're out of breath from running, and then you run to the washing machine and you have a shock like, oh my god, it's gone into the wash. How will it come out? Will it be good? Will they accept it? Oh my god. And you have anticipation, you have fear, you have so much complex ball. You're a ball of emotions, very varied, many and varied emotions, and one part is spending the money also. I don't think I'll give anybody any of this to this particular relative. They have just been so gossipy all this time. They are not going to get anything. But then how to not give them and give to this one? All these thoughts are going in the head. And then what? And then you wake up, and then immediately as soon as you wake up, you know the same drab, if I may add, surroundings, and nothing. There is no lottery, there is no ticket, there is no running, there is no washing, there is no gift, there is no money, and you don't have to cut anybody out because you don't have anybody to add, and no one to add, no one to subtract. So, prabodhe sati, when you finally wake up from this dream, which actually turned into a nightmare because really you couldn't finish dreaming, and getting your grubby paws on the money. And so therefore, this dream, this unfulfilled, recurrent, maddening dream, which seems so real in its own time, prabodhe sati, upon waking up, asad bhavet. Same exact thing here. So every projection, everything, this is what it is. It is, it is what, um, this is the Upanishad, and all this, is needed because the Atma is not fully known. And there is no way of dismissing these projections without help from the Upanishad, the Shruti, which is a means of knowledge. And that Shruti that Shruti is in the form of a pramana. What is pramana? It's a pramayaha karanam pramanam. That which is the instrument of knowledge, means of knowledge. And so this means of knowledge, what happens to this means of knowledge? It comes in the form of words handled by the parampara, handled by the teacher, given to the student, and then it is, it dismisses the ignorance connected to the I. That has, as though, misidentified itself. So all the wrong identifications, all the notions are dismissed by the help of which knowledge. That is what is called pramana here. So it operates like the pramana, and the definition of the pramana is very interesting. So the definition of the pramana is threefold. So first, it should be, it should be anadhigata. Anadhigata means it should not be available for any other means of knowledge. So if Atma is available for sight, or it is already jada, so it is an object available for the means of knowledge I have, then why should Upanishad come into the picture? There is no anadhigata there. So it should be anadhigata. And then it should be, what else, arthavat, meaningful. You cannot just have some gobbledygook and then it is called pramana. Talking in tongues is not pramana here. The person should be able to understand it. It should make sense. The words should be strung together in such a way that it makes sense. It is relevant. It is pertinent. And then the third, what is that, criteria of the pramana, what functions, what constitutes as a pramana, is phalavat. So first is, what is that, anadhigata, then arthabodhaka, arthabodhakatvam or arthabodhakam, and then arthabodhakam means it should be meaningful. When it is taught, it should make sense. And the third one is, it is phalavat. Phalavat means it should lead you to your desired goal. And what is the desired goal here? The sloughing off of samsara. The samsara should go. That is the phalavat. There should be phalavat means it should be purposeful. So supposing I send, when you try various fonts, there is always a sentence. The quick fox jumps over the lazy dog. And I wondered why they had this sentence, because all the letters are used, everything, most of the letters are used. So you can see the font fully. Now it is a sentence that is arthabodhakam. So the quick fox jumping over the lazy dog, I understand. I know what it means. I know what it's saying. But is it relevant to me? Some quick fox over there somewhere in the universe is jumping over some lazy dog. Is it relevant to me? Not at all. It has no pertinence. It has no relevance to me at all. Nothing. It is not at all useful. And so these three things a pramana must fulfill. And so here, Adi Shankara, what took us so long to talk about, Adi Shankara says very briefly, Atmanascha, cha means further, Atmanah, for the Atma, Ghatadivat, like even the pot, if it is obvious, Vigneyatve sati, If it is obvious like the pot, if it is an object of my knowledge, my knowledge means my pramanas which I operate, like inference, like arthapatti, multiple level inference, upama, comparison, and what else, and the pratyaksha pramanani, all the 5 pramanas that I have in the sense organs, etc. And so then, if it is something which is visible to the naked eye, do you need a flashlight? No. So if somebody from outer space, some other planet came, and then, some exoplanet person came, and then you were trying to say, okay, this is our sun. Will you hold a flashlight to show the sun? Not necessary. It's already there. In fact, it is lighting up also the flashlight that you are planning to hold up to it. So it is not needed. So ghatadivat, if the Atma is like a pot, ghatadivat means like a pot. If it is like a pot, vigneyatve sati means if it is already known, if it has vigneyatvam, when it has the knowability through the means of knowledge that I already possess, then why will I need to go to a guru? So if I want to if I want to know pot, I don't go to a guru. I don't go to Ghata Guru and say, oh, please reveal the secrets of this pot, and please show me the pot. And so this is what is called anartha. So ज्ञान उपदेशस्य anarthakyam syat. So there will be the uselessness of the Upanishad. Then what for the Upanishad was channeled? What for by the rishis, the exalted sages? What for does the Upanishad and the Vedas, what for do they exist? So this is something which is a very important argument. And we have to see this fully because it's just very, very important. Because if Atma is known, what are you going to get out of it? That's another thing. It enjoys the status of being known. What will you get? What should be the Upadesha? you know, you are Ghatavat. That should be the Upadesha. And and then first of all, what should be the Upadesha? That is not clear. Then second of all, then we should ask, why should there be Upadesha? Upadesha means teaching. Why should there be Upadesha? If Atma is to be known, then there is uselessness, futility. There is no arthavatvam, which is there, as we saw, is the first one of the primary conditions of the pramana, one of the 3 conditions of the pramana. Arthavatvam should be there. And so the teaching on the part of the Shruti does not become meaningful if the Atma is like a pot which is an object to be known. So anarthakyam means it is of 2 kinds. One futility is upadesha anarthakyam. Uselessness, this we have discussed, uselessness of the Shastra. So Shrutya upadesha anarthakyam. By the Shruti, the teaching is useless. Why? Because the Atma is already available as a meaning, as an object. So then you don't need the Shruti to come and reveal anything. Why? Because if the Atma is like a pot, available for sight, etc., then pramana anadhigatatvam is absent. Meaning, anadhigatatvam means it is pramanantara vishaya. Anadhigatatvam means it should be, anadhigata means it should not be available for any other pramana. But if it is already an object, the first condition of what constitutes a pramana, anadhigatatvam, not available for any means of knowledge, it's not there. It's not there. So then, so if it is an object, it is known. You don't need Shruti, you don't need teaching, you don't know nothing. And then this is the difficulty, because the pramana is needed. Why? Because the Atma is mistaken for what it is not, and it is not taken for what it is. Both these kinds of confusions are there, and therefore the person should be, for the confused person needs the Shruti to gain this knowledge. But if the Atma is already known, then if there is no if the Atma is already known, there is no usefulness of the pramana at all. And so this is the first thing. And this is the first problem, is that anarthakyam syat, because everything depends on because then also there is no moksha possible, because Atma is known as an object. This is the second problem. If the Atma is an object, knowing something, knowing the ghata, pata, matha, what do I get? Nothing. I don't get anything. Maybe I'm happy for 10 minutes. Maybe somebody has given me some wonderfully crafted vase made of clay. And I am very happy looking at that and saying, oh, fantastic. Then after 5 minutes, what? Okay, no more is it useful. And it just goes off somewhere and it is put somewhere. And so therefore, therefore, this is what, this anarthakyam is a very important argument, because we know that for the Shruti there is no futility. The Upadesh, without the Upadesha, this knowledge cannot be gained at all. And then it is, but here, what, here, the second problem is this, that without the Shruti, this cannot be gained, and with the Shruti, it is useless because it's already known. This is a very silly argument. And so, therefore, what this, therefore, what we have to see, what is the Vishaya, the subject matter of the Shruti. The subject matter of the Shruti has to be not within the scope of perception, inference, etc. Only then it becomes useful. Only then it becomes useful, when it is not within the scope of all this. That's why the subject matter of the Shruti here includes the first portion of the Veda also, understand. So the subject matter of the Shruti is what? Swarga. Swarga means some heaven-like place. Do you know it exists? Well, yeah, I've read about it. Yeah, you've read about it, you've heard about it, that's why you know. Nobody is Swarga returned to come and say, oh yeah, this is, please come. It's a wonderful place. You must go there. Nobody has come and told us. But how do we know? Because of Shruti. We know that there is a Swarga because of Shruti. Then Punya Papa, how do we know? If you do this, you will gain Punya. Whereas if you do that, you will gain Papa. How do we know? Again, because of the Shruti. Because of the Veda, we know that. This such and such an action will accrue punya, which will make your life comfortable here or hereafter. Asmin janmani, janmantareva. Either in this life or in other lives, somewhere it will make it more comfortable. How do you know? Through the Shastra. Agnihotra. Agnihotra karma. It is not available for any other pramana. You know it only through this. And then, oh, but I want to go to heaven. Swarga kamaha. So the people who are interested in having this desire to go to heaven, please perform this ritual using soma leaves, etc. Pressing the soma juice and offering the soma juice into the fire. How do we know? Because it is not available for any other pramana except the Veda. Indra and Vayu, Agni, all these celestial devatas, not available for any other pramana. Then finally, Atma being Brahman, Jagat Karanam, I being Ishvara. How do I know? Again, because it is not available for any other pramana. So therefore, this Shruti Upadesha is indeed, the Upadesha is Arthavan. And then, and then there is, so therefore, this is very important. The Shruti is very important. It is not Anartha. But if you insist that the Atma is Jada, is inert, it will become negated. But it is not negatable. But here you are in the danger of trying to negate something without which there is no knowledge possible, because of this strange confusion. And then one more thing. And so this what kind of, okay, okay, you come to know what Atma Jadaha. Then what happens? Then you will be singing in the, then you say, aha, Atma Jadaha means what? Aham Jadaha. I am inert. I am inert. Then you'll be singing Chidananda Rupaha, Jadoham, Jadoham. You'll be singing like that. Instead of Shivoham, Shivoham, you'll be singing Jadoham, Jadoham. Jadoham, 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 Jadoham. And then what? And then, if you say Jadoham, it's wrong. Why? Because you need to be Chetana to say Jadoham. You need to be alive, you need to be sentient in order to do this. And then you call this knowledge? Jadoham is knowledge. This is the enlightened person talking. Jadoham, I have understood. A rock, a wayside rock is better than you. If it could talk, it will tell you stories about when it was a tree. I mean, what what is this? This is completely, and this is what it is. The rock is fine because it doesn't need to say Jadoham. But you need to say this, that itself is a terrible nuisance. Why? Because you're contradicting yourself all the time. It's like a person saying, I am dead, I am dead, I am dead. And the person has to actually be alive to say, Aham, Mritaha. So therefore, and one more thing, the Shruti, this is not about pramana. This is not the conditions of the pramana, the threefold conditions we saw last time. But this is the, what is that, one of the epithets for the Shruti. The Shruti always gives Upadesha, which is Hitopadesha. Hita, Hitam. It is comforting. So, is there any hita in saying or coming to the conclusion that I am inert? Is there any hita? Not at all. Do you feel comforted thinking that you are inert? Not at all. And so, therefore, hita is not there. And then it doesn't, all the three things about the pramana, arthabodhakatvam is not there, phalavat is not there. Phalavat means it should be able to reveal something to me, whose revelation should be useful for me. And so therefore it is it is just a travesty to think that it is it is Atma is Jada. And if Atma is Jada, the implications don't just remain with your mad mind who thinks that the Atma is, who thinks that the I is inert. It goes all the way to the Veda also. Amnayasya phalabodhakatvam asti, arthabodhakatvam asti. This is what it is. Phalavat arthabodhakatvam must be there. Amnaya means Veda. And so it should reveal something to me that is hita. And I'm not just talking of moksha. It should reveal something to me that is hita even in the everyday world. How to lead my life in this complicated way, how to go forward, what to do, what not to do. It should be good for me. And then, of course, the extreme, the ultimate hita is moksha alone. There also it should tell me how I should lead my life in order to prepare for this knowledge. And then, and then the knowledge aham jadaha is not going to help at all. Of course, arthabodhakatvam is there. I understand what it means, but it is laughable because phalavat arthabodhakatvam is not there at all. Nothing is there. Nothing like that is there. And so therefore, this so the jnana shabda cannot be so the Atma cannot be seen as half Jada and half, what's its name, Chetana. Not at all. So, going further, where is this Jnana Kartritvam? Lakshanarthatvat. Anamshatvat. We finished that. Yugapat. Tat satyam satma iti shrutyantarat. Tasmat jnanam brahma प्रयोगाद भावसाधनः इति श्रुत्यन्तरात्. Yeah, so then he says one more thing. Jnatritve sati anantya anupapattihi. Before that, I think it was, yeah. So, atmanascha ghatadivat vijneyatve jnana upadesha anarthakyam. Yeah, we finished that. Nahi घटादिवत प्रसिद्धस्य ज्ञान उपदेशः अर्थवान. We have covered that also. Nahi means because, not indeed because. If the Atma is already known as a pot, etc., then the Upadesha of this, the teaching of the Atma as Brahman, as Jagat Karana, is certainly not meaningful. Tasmat Jnatritve Sati. If it has Jnatritvam, if it has no ability, and then what happens? If it is an object, Anantya Anupapattihi. Very important, another argument. So Satyam Jnanam, okay. And what is this Jnanam? This Jnanam is something that is that is Jada. This is already known. And this Jnanam is revealing the Atma to be Jada, inert. And then if it is inert, then what happens? Then if it is inert, then naturally the Shruti has nothing to say about it because it is available for knowledge. It's an object. It is objectified. And then what? Tasmat, therefore, if it is already known, then as an object, it cannot be limitless. Anantyahanihi syat. It cannot be limitless. How can it be limitless? What is limitlessness? You have to see. That which is, yat na pravibhajyate tad anantam. We saw that earlier. That which is indivisible is ananta. Indivisible means it should not have parts. And here the Atma has one part which is sitting like a blob. It is what is that? It is it is an object. Then it is limited. It is finite. If it's an object, it is finite. It has the threefold problems. What is that? That threefold finitude. Deshatah, it is in one place, and then kalatah, it is at a particular time, and then vastutah, it is in this particular form, and so it excludes all other forms. And so tasmat jnatritve sati anantya anupapattihi. So it affects in Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, these three things, Then it affects all of them. It affects the word on its right. So you see, one wrong decision you make, the whole thing just goes. The whole thing just goes. The whole argument just is in jeopardy because this one, Ananta on the right hand side, that word is completely gone, and poor thing, we haven't even discussed it. We haven't even got that far, and it is knocked off now. It's not there at all. So sad. Why? Because if Atma is Jada, if it's an object, it will have a measurement, it will have a volume, you can see it, you can infer it, you can measure it, and it's occupying a particular space at a particular time. And so therefore, it comes under the spell of a threefold, what is it called, the threefold, limitations. So how can it be Ananta? It cannot be Ananta. Now, on the left-hand side, what is the word? Satyam. Satyam also is affected. That's what he's going to point out. Sanmatratvam cha anupapannam. ज्ञानकर्तृत्वादि विशेषत्वे सति. So, jnana kartritvadi visheshatve sati means that, it means jnana kartritvadi visheshatve. If the jnana shabda, for it describes the atma, the I as a karta, etc., as a doer, etc. So then the satyam is also affected on the left hand side, the word satyam. Because the word jnanam is right bang in the middle of satyam and anantam. So on this side, Anantam is affected because if it's an object, then it will be finite for sure. And on the left hand side, Satyam is affected. How is Satyam affected? Because Satyam, we already saw the definition. Yat navyabhicharati tat Satyam. That which never shifts, never changes. So that then he explains, the Bhashyakara explained that which, what is that? He said one more thing, one more very nice word. So navyabhicharati, and then that which is vikaravat, that which is subject to vikara, modification, tat anritam. He showed us the opposite also. That which is subject to modifications, any changes, so that is called anritam, false, mithya. And so that this we know. So now, if jnanam is interpreted as knower, then what happens? Then the satya, of course, the ananta gets knocked off. So here we are in a very interesting quagmire. So if jnanam is interpreted as an making atma into an object, then it cannot be ananta. An object by nature is finite. Then okay, I will see it as the subject. Let's not do this. If jnana kartritve sati, if the word jnanam is making Brahman out to be the karta, then the word satya is affected in two ways. How? First, the first way in which we have actually already covered this, but it's important because we would have forgotten. So it's important to revise it over here. So the first way in which it is affected is because if Brahman is karta, then already there is a vikara, there is a shift. Before, no karta. Now, karta. Like the person who was ready to go out, sitting, and then had the sankalpa, oh, I think I'll go for a walk. This kind of a sankalpa the person had. So before the sankalpa, the person was just, let's say, akarta, and not absolute akarta, but akarta of the chalana kriya, akarta of walking. And then after that, now decided to walk and started to walk. And so now the person is walking. So chalana kriyayaha karta bhavati. Then what? Already the change has taken place. Before, no sankalpa of walking. Before, and then same thing with Brahman. Before, no no knower status was there, and now it has become knower. If it is knower, then the Satya Shabda takes a hit. The Satya Shabda takes a hit because then we cannot say the definition of Satya is Yat Navyabhicharati Tat Satyam, that which is completely changeless is Satyam, because already a change has occurred. Already a change has occurred. So this is so, on the one hand, the Anantam was in danger. Now the Satyam is in peril. What is one to do? Quickly, let's go to the next sentence. That is all there is to do. And so, what is there here? So tasmat. Therefore, then he gives a little quote. Before that, he says, Sanmatratvam cha satyatvam. Very important. Sanmatram cha satyam. So sanmatram means sat. This sat is not just a made up word. It has also dhatu artha. As dhatu, to be. And if we have described something, again it is bhava sadhana in the abstract sense of to be. We are talking of beingness. And if you're talking of beingness, there cannot be any kartritvam. There cannot be absolutely any kind of doership at all. And so, therefore, what? So, therefore, the Satya Shabda is in danger now. And then Sanmatram hi Satyatvam. And then what? He gives a example. Why is that alone Sat? Why is that, why is that Dhatu Artha here? He says, Tat Satyam Sa Atma Shvetaketo iti Shrutyantarat. So that which you wanted to know, that's Satyam. That Satyam which is Ekameva Dvitiyam, which is one, which is indivisibly one, non-dually one, and which is without a second, and which is the truth of the whole universe. And the whole universe was in the form of Sat. When? Before it manifested into so many names and forms, the universe was Sat. Idam Agre, before all this came into being, this universe, this Jagat was Sat. Idam Agre, Sat Asit, Sadeva Asit. Ekameva Dvitiyam, just like one clay and many, many pots, one Sat and many, many forms. And the forms are Mithya, and that Sat, which you wanted to know, the Tat Satyam, Sa Atma. Again, here a gender bender, because Atma has really no gender, but grammar has gender. So Tat Satyam, neuter, Saha Atma, masculine. That Satyam is alone you. And then, of course, the feminine gender also comes. Imaha Tisro Devataha. And all these, this Satyam first manifest into, as it were, manifest into these three elements which the Shruti calls as Devatas. And these Devatas, coursed through the universe, so to speak, creating quote unquote various names and forms, starting with his body, starting with his mind, senses, etc. Tat Satyam Sa Atma Shvetaketu, He Shvetaketu, iti Shrutyantarat. Second time, Bhashyakara has thought of the Chandogya Upanishad. The first quote was from the Bhuma Vidya, 7th chapter. This one is closer home because we have studied it from the 6th chapter. The mantra citation is given there in the Bhashya itself. So then he says, Tasmat Satya Ananta Shabdabhyam Saha Visheshanattvena Jnana Shabdasya Prayogad Bhavasadhanah Jnana Shabdah. It's just a summation. We have already, thankfully, seen this. Therefore, along with the words Satya and Ananta, so the word Jnanam is a package deal. It's a package deal. It's not, flying around by itself like a kite that has been tethered from the string. It's not just wandering aimlessly. It is a deliberate word used by the Shruti for the pure sake of Upadesha alone, not for anything else. For Upadesha alone, the word is used, and these words are used, and they are a package deal. What kind of Sat? Jnanam Sat. It's a Sat that is alive, not Jada. And what kind of Jnanam? Anantam Jnanam. Neither is it knower, nor is it known, nor is it the means of knowledge. And what kind of Sat? Anantam Sat. Limitless Sat, limitless changeless, limitless presence, changeless, limitless sentience. And so the three are a package deal. You have no right to take them apart and just use, whenever you want, you just do something or the other. You just keep giving your own meanings. And so he says, Satya Ananta Shabdabhyam Saha, along with that, Visheshanattvena, meaning it has the status, it has an adjectival status. Even though it has an indicatory function, grammatically it has an adjectival status. That's what is being pointed out. Padanam, padanam visheshana, and then padarthanam What is that? Lakshana, Lakshya Bhava Sambandha. So the meaning, of course, is Lakshana, but grammatically it is Visheshana adjective because it has an adjectival function. That's all it is, grammatically speaking. So Jnana Shabdasya Prayogat. So the use of this, what do we say? What do we understand? Bhava Sadhana. Bhava Sadhana means it is the abstract, abstract knowledge, abstract sense of knowing. Even the word bhava sadhana is falling short, because bhava sadhana also indicates some kind of a knowing. So, it's like it at the most gives the meaning of a gerund, knowing, like that. In English, at least it's a gerund, knowing. So then there is also some kind of a samanya kriyartha is there in bhava sadhana. We have been studying the impersonal, this bhave prayoga, we have been studying in Sanskrit. There is some samanya kriya, there is some action is there, but here there is no kriya involved. So it is pure lakshana. That's why it is best to use Satyam Brahma, Anantam Brahma, and then Jnanam Brahma. What do you get? You get Jnapti, consciousness alone, awareness, consciousness. And so that's why Bhashyakara says Bhava Sadhanaha Jnana Shabdaha. And then what happens? Then Brahman is finally understood as what? As all the, what's its name? Brahman is understood as Sarvagnya, Sarvakaranam, Sarvagnya. And so this is what is, even though without undergoing any change, it is known as Sarvagnya. This we have to understand, because the knower status, known status, and all this is mithya. All these projected statuses are mithya. Without undergoing any change, it is known as Sarvagnya. Trikala Abadhitam Satyam. Abadhitam, non-negatable, either in the past or in the or in the present or in the future. And that is, how is it understood? By the word Anantam following it. Because deshatah, kalatah, vastutah, aparichinnam. Aparichinnam means not conditioned by space, time, and object, limitless consciousness. And so the one who knows this is no more ignorant of this Brahman. That is what, this is Brahmavit. Apnoti means Brahmaiva bhavati. And we thought we were done with this section, but a little more is left before we go into Ananta. And what is that? Jnanam Brahma iti kartritvadikaraka nivrityartham mridadivat chidrupata nivrityartham cha prayujyate. Fantastic. Very fantastic and a very clever summation, because he talks about the potential problems. If supposing the Shruti Vakya was Satyam Brahma, Anantam Brahma, and the Jnanam was missing, what would happen? Then we would have at our hands two problems. So Brahman would become Sarva Karanam, because the word Satya itself means that presence because of which everything else is. And we know everything else is because Drishyatvat, because we see things other than this body, mind, sense complex. And so then if Satyam if the word Satyam gives the status to Brahman of being Jagat Karana, being the cause of the universe, then even though we know that Karta is not there, but then it would have the problem of becoming Karta, some change, some vikara. Then you cannot say it is not vikaravat, avikaravat Brahma, you cannot say anymore. And so therefore that is the first problem if the word jnanam were not there. And then so then the second problem is Brahman would become jadam. It would, because what kind of karanam, if you ask, we have two kinds of causes. One is called nimitta karana. The cause, that is the intelligence behind the creation, is called nimitta karana. That the planning that is involved, that infallible planning, everything, nimitta karana. So if it is nimitta karanatve sati, if Brahman is nimitta karana, then what happens? Then it becomes, it's got kartritvadi dosha. It's got the fallacy of being the jnana karta, sorry, not jnana, the karta of the universe. It has got the fallacy of becoming karta, and meaning becoming the doer, undergoing a change. It's got a fallacy. You cannot say it is changeless satyam anymore. Trikala abadhitam, you cannot say. Non-negatable, you cannot say. And so therefore this this word jnanam, if it was not there, look at the implication. Then suppose we take it as upadana karana. Upadana karana means the material cause, all the material that is here, that is that we see, that you can touch, you can hold, you can interact with, that which is in on the transactable universe, which is there, empirical universe. So then, if it's a material cause, then it would be jada. See, and so the word satya would be stuck without the word jnanam. And so therefore, this word jnanam, what does it do? Jnanam brahma iti kartritvadi karaka nivrityartham. So the first function of the word jnanam, this is a summary. Okay, we've done this before. So the first function of the word jnanam is that it removes nivrityartham. It is for the purposes of removal of what? Kartritvadi karakas. All the karakas, all the factors of action, doer, and then what? Done in. If you're the doer, then you're done in. And then Brahman will feel guilty. Oh, this person is crying. Maybe I should have given them better karma, but then they didn't have good karma. What to do? All this will be there. And then if we, then the second, then that is vikara is there. And then the second one is, if it is nimitta, this is if it is the nimitta karana. Then if you take Brahman as upadana karana, because the word satyam has bestowed karanatvam on Brahman, and then if you take it as upadana karana, then mridadivat achidrupata praptam. And so then mridadivat, like even the clay, it is insentient. Insentient clay gives rise to insentient pot, and the potter is somewhere else. So we don't, when you go to buy a pot, a ghata, the potter, the wife of the potter, or the spouse of the potter, and the children of the potter, and the pets of the children of the potter, they all don't come along. You just buy the pot. So here there is a separation between the nimitta karana, the potter, and the upadana karana, the material. The potter doesn't come home with you, correct, along with the whole family. But in case of Brahman, what we say, it is abhinna unimitta upadana karanam. It is nimitta, it is upadana also, as it will reveal, as the text goes. And so it is abhinna. Why? Because the karanatvam itself is a mithya, projection upon superimposition, so to speak, upon that Brahman, which is free of all karakas, which is free of all karanas. What is it? Jnapti swarupa. It is all knowledge, which can easily morph into a knower without becoming a knower. It can easily morph into a known without becoming known, without becoming an object. And it can easily bless the sense organs that connect the knower and the known without being either. And that is what is, the function of the word jnanam. Mridadivat achidrupata nivrityartham cha prayujyate. And then now, just to give a segue to anticipate the next class, the Purva Pakshi has been listening more carefully than all the people here. Okay, and the Purva Pakshi has a very brilliant conclusion. And what is the conclusion? Okay, so it is not karta, it is not karma, it is not this, it is not that. And then all these words are being used to nivrityartham, nivrityartham, nivrityartham. Bingo! Brahman is that which doesn't exist at all. What? More we'll see tomorrow. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ